Hi, this is Mr. Cordes, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about characterization. Characterization is a way that we pull apart and analyze a character so that we fully can get a grasp of who they are, why they do things, how they contribute to the story. Characterization also helps us understand author's purpose. It's a bigger thing than just understanding what he or she does, but it essentially helps us understand who they are. Okay. In your Google Classroom, there is a file with the graphic organizer for characterization. Now, I put this together myself. And so some of the formatting may come out different. As long as you're able to get it and then modify it, use that. So at any moment in time, if you need to pause and pause the video and find the document and open up a editing software or find a way to put it into like Google Docs, you can do that. I've tried like 18 different ways and none of them seem successful. However, you have the document in front of you. So what you see here is the graphic organizer in PDF. When you click on that, it's going to take you to this page right here. This is what we're working with. Characterization really helps us to break apart what they do and understand who they are. Now, you'll notice that some of these things overlap. Some people may say that actions are the same as behaviors. Some people may say that their emotions could be connected with their responses. And in truth, yes. Yes. You are working with one person, and so you're looking for the overlap and the identification of what's going on. So if your character is super angry all the time, but they're only angry at their parents, that would be a response. Okay. If they are extremely sad and depressed, okay, that might go along with their emotions. Their behaviors is almost like that reoccurring pattern that happens. But the reoccurring pattern for behaviors would be more or less of what they continuously do over and over. Okay. So I'm going to kind of go through them and explain what they are. You'll have the chance to use your character, the one that you are reading about, for this chart. Okay. We're going to use this chart a lot. I love this concept because it helps us understand the why. Why are they responding this way? Why do they have this emotion? Why do they act out in this way? Okay. Once again, if you opened it into a Google Docs, you will notice that it popped up. It might have popped up like this, and then the form may have moved down. I don't know where the text went, but I'm not a tech person in the least. However, I'm just trying to get it to you as best as can. So let me go back one more time. In the assignment itself, whatever your assignment looks like, there should be the attachments. I attached it as a Google Doc, as well as or just a plain document. And then I attached it as a PDF. I think the PDF actually might be your best option. And even if you wanted to save the PDF to your file and then open it up and cut and paste into a regular Word document, you can do that. There's lots of ways around it. If you just want to grab a piece of paper and start drawing some circles, let's go for it. So let me go through this, ladies and gentlemen, and what this looks like. This is not the one. Sorry, this is not the slide that I want. I want to get here. Here we go. Let me go through all the items and kind of explain. And you can be thinking in your head about what character attributes you want to put. So you can either put them in the circle or you can put them next to the circle. That's completely fine. I will tell you more than likely 99% of the time, we will go back and add textual evidence to this. So if we say, okay, here's what his action is like or her action, then you can identify, oh, here's an example of that from the story. Okay. Let's start with actions. Actions are just the way they sound. These are things that the characters do. Okay. These are things that the characters experience. Overthrowing a table, yelling at someone. Their actions could be destructive. They could be very positive. Okay. They could have made a dozen cupcakes to take to someone who is sick. The actions are the things that they do. Okay, plain and simple. The things that they do. I would also identify that these are probably the um, purposeful. So they got up out of bed. Sure, all the characters go to sleep. They they eat. Okay, great. Unless they're eating like a large amount, like you're going to notice the oddities of a character in their actions, and that's kind of what you want to cue up on and find. Okay. Now, from that are the behaviors. The behaviors are reoccurring patterns that you would see from their actions or kind of their I don't want to use the word responses because responses is down here. Behaviors is kind of how they act in regards to a situation. Behaviors for me, let's use me as an example. If I was the character, my behavior every morning is to get up, walk the dog, have my cup of coffee, and then I sit and I get organized. Now you may say, well, that's Mr. Cordes, that's actions. Okay, sure, those are actions, but they're constantly. And if you were to go into the story, you would know, oh, that helps him reset the day. That helps him get to a point where he can get organized and then start with his work. So behaviors are the way that it's kind of like a pattern. What is the pattern that we see? How do they behave? Like, are they really immature? Are they sophisticated? I read a story one time where this little girl was just really nasty to these kids on the playground. But then as soon as she went to the teacher, she was all nice and sweet. I think maybe Matilda by Roald Dahl. Maybe that's the one I'm thinking about. Or maybe Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Anyway, there's lots of characters that behave a certain way in front of someone versus someone else. Okay, just like you'll behave a certain way in front of your friends compared to your family or your parents. So actions are the things that they do. Behaviors are kind of like the pattern that they have. Responses, you will notice this whether how the character is responding to a certain situation, an event, how they are responding to a relationship. So how do they respond? And this might be purposeful when they interact with people or when they are faced with a conflict of some kind. So the man falls overboard. He has to swim to the island. His response when he first gets there is to find food and water. Okay. That's his responses. So you might put down his response as being resourceful. Okay. It's the idea of how do they respond and what is their action. So some people might start crying. Some people might run in fear. Some characters might face the villain head on. Right? How do they respond to those adversities? How do they respond to those struggles? And that's kind of what you would gather in this part right here. Okay. Now the next one is pretty straightforward. Appearance. How do they look? The look of a character actually does play into the holistic idea of this character as a whole. Okay. The Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz looks like the Scarecrow because that contributes to his emotional state, his actions, his behaviors, his responses, right? The way that characters are crafted, so like Aslan from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, his appearance looks very purposeful, a lion, to communicate his behaviors, to communicate his emotions, his actions, right? Some of you guys have read Outsiders. There's a lot of appearance in there for how the characters look, and therefore that connects obviously with how they respond, right? Because they look different than others. So mark down what their appearance is. Physical stature. If you go back to, let's say, of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, obviously George is short yet muscular. He's very dark because he's been in the sun all day. Lenny is super tall. He's huge. He's big. And that plays into his demeanor and kind of contrasts what's happening. So you mark down their appearance. The next one that you see are emotions. Okay. What are the characters' emotions? Think to yourself of like the basic happy, sad, angry, irritated or frustrated, maybe annoyed or disgusted. You kind of want to pick up on the emotions of the character as you go through the story. So if they are sad or depressed, mark that down. If they are happy because there's a celebration or they found what they were looking for, mark that down. Okay. So you mark down how they are feeling throughout that. Okay. Now you'll notice that these 4 emotions, actions, behaviors, and responses all can bleed into each other. And that is perfectly normal. Do not think that, oh, this is emotion. It can't be a behavior. It can't be a response. They're all linked. They're all the same character. So if our character is sad and his behavior is that he talks to his mom every day and his mom makes him sad, right? That's a connection. Okay. So his response is that he cries when he talks to his mom. Oh, this is a sad character I'm developing right now. If he cries to his mom, that's his response to his mom. His emotion is that he is sad. His behavior is that he goes to bed early and is depressed. Like, those are the things that you kind of want to begin to pull apart. So they will overlap. Okay. Just like you are, if you were to put your name in the center and you put your emotions and your behaviors and your actions and your responses, they would all kind of begin to mix together. And the great thing is when we do that, we begin to see, oh, what is this character really like? Why are they doing what they do? What does that really mean about who they are and what our author has for us? So take a moment. You've read a short story, and now the assignment is to conduct this characterization chart. Take a moment. I would jot down at least 4 to 5 ideas for each, because the more that you have, the better it will be. And again, like I said before, about 99% of the time, we're going to come back to this chart to add textual evidence to it. Okay. There it is, characterization. Once again, do your best to craft this chart. If you just need to sit, again, with your own piece of paper and draw some circles so that you have it in front of you, and upload the image to show proof that you've done your work, then you can do it that way. But this is how we pull apart and understand a character better, characterization. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.